So hello, welcome to the Full Speed Events offices. We're not in the studios today. For those of you not in the gang, you might not be aware we are actually doing some renovations in Studio 1. So this has become Studio 1 and a bit, as we've moved from down directly below my feet actually, up into the offices and not out into the other studios. Quite simply because this is warmer, drier, and is easier to move the kit into. So hopefully, fingers crossed, touch wood, it's all going to run smoothly. You're not going to get too many jumps and skips, and it's all going to work to plan. Now, it is Tuesday. It is the 11th of April. It is, of course, week 2 of the OTE April, and that means that we're supported by OTE, who have looked after the gang since day one. I've got to say a massive thank you to them. Without them, their support, really, we wouldn't be where we are today. And I've got to say a big thank you very much to Annie, to Max, and all of the gang. Now, we will be doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away some of the brand new pineapple hydro tabs, new flavour, and that's going to be coming out as part of a triple pack going out to members of the DCG gang with a bottle as well, a big large bidon, 750ml bidon. That's going to be going out to another member tonight. So we've already given away 2. That is to Tim Bags, he's reading the notes very quickly, and to James Forbes. And there'll be another new name going on there as well. It's one rider, one prize, so you'll find that those 2 riders won't be eligible. And that means that you've got a 1 in 39 chance of being in with a prize tonight. So we are going to crack on with the show. Before we do, just a quick reminder, make sure, guys, you do support the people who support the gang. They are absolutely critical to making it happen. Now, where are we heading tonight? Well, top left-hand side of your screen, you'll have seen it is Two Bridges Loop. It's 45 kilometres long, and as you can see from the fantastic Zwift Hacks map, this is a really straightforward course, honest gov. It is essentially from the Pens down through the start line. We go out as if we're going to the volcano, but turn through the S's, over the sprint line, through the Italian villas, come around the far side, come back in, over the reverse KOM. But instead of going all the way to the top of the reverse KOM, we drop down in through the spiral and round through the centre. 6 laps of 7.1k is 42.8 when you add in the lead in of a couple of 100 metres. So, going to be really important that the riders all stay together, because we do have a climb straight out pretty much from that start loop. Russ, your yellow beacon as usual, and Russ will be making sure, now of course, that the riders all head out nice and smoothly. Now, Russ just messaging, he's actually going to be taking it easy after the go, and that is a trigger point when Russ says, right, no rules, no limits, go as fast or as slow as you want to the finish. The man who is going to be looking after everybody, maybe even looking after Russ, is going to be Kooslux. That's Michael Hutchinson, our red beacon. And he is going to be bringing the ride out to everybody. So, quick reminder, don't forget, he's going to be bringing everybody back in round to the fold and into the finishing line. He is the old man at the back of the ride. Now, let's take a quick look at the profile, because we did talk about the climb up out of the start, and this really does illustrate it. You can see, so we come out from the start. The start is down on the bottom left hand side. We work our way round, and we come from the 18 metre point. We then climb up that 3.3 metre slope, and as we go up and out, we go round this in the anti-clockwise direction. We just twisted the map so you can see what you're looking at, and that is really key, and one of the great things about having the map on VeloViewer. A massive thank you to Ben, to Anna, and all of the gang at VeloViewer. Without their support, it would indeed be very difficult to run the ride and to be able to get the exact distances on there. So hopefully everybody's got in their heads Russ's instructions, which is 6 laps on the way round. Don't forget, of course, stay round yellow, stay round yellow, stay round yellow. That's the only things you really need to know until we get into the finish. So the riders are lined up and ready to go. You can see And it's not going to be long before they're underway. They're just over on the side there. You can see that yellow beacon, that pillar of light that is on Russ, and the red on Michael. And they're going to be heading out and hitting the line very shortly. So away they go. Let's jump in with one of our riders. We go off from the line. We'll jump in with somebody who's moving. Would always be a good start, wouldn't it? So there we go. Let's jump in with Andy Watson. That is Rocket Raccoon, who is on his way through, and it looks like most of those riders are on the way out from the start line. So let's go dive in with the Donny Chaingang. Let's check all of our riders are heading out. Then let's hit the roads here in Watopia once again, week 2 of the OTE ride. So apologies for the brief silence. Radio silence coming out there, just having to do a little bit of emergency admin for one of our regular members, and hopefully that'll have worked. Don't forget, of course, we do have a late join. That is for 30 minutes on the ride. You can join with up to 30 minutes of ride done. See, we've got Pete Trouble on board. Pete, of course, a winner last week, absolutely flying, and a man for whom it was a surprise, which is for those of us who've been watching consistent and been keeping an eye on the riders up near the front, no real surprise. Absolute flying rider all the way in and through. So it looks like the rider's just coming up towards the top of the climb out. You can just see making the way around that left-hand turn. That's the turning there just off to the rider's right, our left, heading out in towards the volcano, but now heading down in towards the S's. So this is the run down and in. A little bit of a view and see we're still some 100, which means the front should be able to see the back and the back should be able to see the front. Just going to take a little bit of a roll back, just watching Russ rolling in through there, and we're going to head down towards our red beacon, and we've got a very experienced beacon in Kuzlux, Michael Hutchinson, in the red kit, one of the Stelton riders, and absolutely what it's all about, and spending plenty of time on the Chaingang. So just a quick reminder, don't forget guys, jump on board, make sure you get grips in, and see the gang here looking good. So the gang moving nice and smoothly through at the moment, and just on lap number 1. Riders looking pretty good as they head out. Don't forget, of course, as part of OC, we'll be doing a giveaway on the way through. We'll probably do that when we come round to the end of lap number 1. So when we go underneath the banner, when our yellow beacon goes underneath the lap banner at the end of lap number 1, we will then be doing our draw, and we'll hit the stop button at that point. All of our members of the DCG gang, that's the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, well, they all get allocated a number. If you are an A for Allen, as in Jimmy Allen, you're going to be up at the front. If you're a W for Wimble, you're going to be down at the bottom of that number range. and everybody else in between. The number generator will randomly stop on a number, and if that number corresponds to your randomness name, then that is, guess what, the prize going to be heading in your direction and already given away 2 packs. Now, the only week this is not going to happen is going to be the last week of April, and that is because we are going to be travelling across on the Tuesday over to France, and it means there will be no show on the last week of Chaingang on Tuesday, but it does mean we're going to save up the prizes of the Tuesday and be giving them out on the Thursday. So the very last Chaingang will have a double prize draw, even better. So that's to be heading in the direction of our riders. At the moment, you can just see the gang riding in and through the bridge at the moment, coming in towards the Italian villas. A traditional fast run down, you can see, quite stretched out as go underneath that sprint arch, but plenty of fastest times by the look of the confetti that is raining down on our riders as they make their way in around that right hand turn. So the riders moving through nice and smoothly. We're going to be making our way in underneath the tunnels at the moment. And as you can see, just raining down on a number of the riders to go in and through. You will notice that we have slightly different acoustics and setup in here. It's days like this when we move out of the studios that we remember just why we have such... spend so much time on the studios and making the acoustics work. I get a nice echo in my ears. Thank you very much to Mr. Mason. He was just telling us the sound effects were quite loud in the background, which they were indeed. And that is just a change in layout. That does change that when we move from one studio to another. Shouldn't move it and change it in any way, but it does. These are one of those things that happen. So hopefully we've got the balance right for everybody, including Mr. Mason. And everything is all good to go. So the rider's looking good at the moment. The group all together. We're heading out on lap number 1. We've gone through the S's. We've come through the Italian villas. We've climbed up past the waterfalls. And we're now going to come over the top. Now, if we were to turn right at the end of this section of road, we'll be heading back down in through the marinas and into the tunnels. But we're going to keep around to the left-hand side. And that means that we're going to then go on to the reverse KOM. We go up the long drag. So over the bridge, up the long drag, round the steep right hand bend, which has a 15% section on the inside section of that bend if you're lucky enough to be pinned on the inside. But instead of going right to the summit, we're going to take a left hand turn and come diving back down. This is a really critical point for keeping the group together. So as we go over the top of that climb and we start dropping left, anybody who's up at the front will be opening a gap on anyone who leaves any kind of distance, even enough to drop in between the two. An empty gel wrapper, that is the kind of gap that's too big, because the gap will open from that to something that you can put an Arctic load of OTE in between you and the riders in front of you. So guys, when you get to the top of that climb, if you're at the front, please ease back, let the back close up. If you're at the back, that last few watts of effort are going to be absolutely critical, and it will be really helpful for you. And you won't have to chase quite as much or as quite as hard or quite as long if that happens. So round this sweeping right into the bridge. We're going to go over the top of the bridge. We're actually directly across from that sprint bridge. That's actually out to our riders left at the moment. And we're going to come up on to the climb. You can see the Donny Cycling Works jersey there, supported by Vin Donny. The green and grey just moving through the bush, just going past Tom Lindley there by the look of it. And as the riders move up on to the climb. So at the moment, everybody riding well, looking like we're moving okay. And hopefully everybody will be able to keep the gang together as they go up on to the top. Now, this climb is going to be tough stuff. And this is where we need our riders to hang together. Let's drop in some stats, because if we do that, we're going to be able to see what the gradient is. We're going to drop in with Russ as we come up and round. We're going to get our drone up in the air. Here we go. Just making our way around the turn. So a quick reminder to everybody, as we come up over the top of this section, this is where it gets tough. There's no need to push on here. This is where the riders at the back need to squeeze in. We're going to be coming around this right hand turn. We're just following Russ round this right hand bend at the moment, and as you can see, Russ just on the front here, we get a clear view of this gradient as it increases 9%, 10% and climbing, now up to 11, and it's going to just continue onwards here. Now this is where it's all about keeping the gaps to a minimum. We're going to flick our way across, trying to just keep a check, try and keep bodies between you and the rider in front, have no gaps in there, and we might just about come through in one piece. We're going to take the left hand turn coming up. You can see that on the sat-nav view, top right hand side of the screen, and as we dive down into the bottom, the front will accelerate at a rocket. Key here, if you do have an anvil, don't use it on the downhill. You're just going to destroy the group. Dead simple stuff. Don't use anvils on the downhills. Wait for the 3Gs. I'm not going to say the word. Okay, over the top, we're now into the descent. And as you can see, currently -2. The speed is going to pick up very quickly. We take this left-hand turn. As you can see, diving down once again, and this is going to drop us down into Wars Town. The back of this group thinning out. Remember, this is all about the drop down. Now, we do have the new pack dynamics. If you've been reading the articles and the tests on there, then you'll know just how much quicker it is. Pack dynamics 4 over 3 is a proven faster ride. It's effectively like having double draft, but it has even more effect on the riders in a small group rather than in a big pack, and that is going to make a huge difference. So basically it is going to make a difference as you come down. As Tom says, why anvils? Well, yeah, going to open up the group as we come down, just riding in with Russ. You can see Russ, one of our lighter, smaller riders, just being distanced off the back. At least we know that Russ has got the power to get back on again. Although Russ suffering from the cold, that his youngster, I hope Norm's feeling better, and Russ get better soon. So around the left-hand turn, going to go in towards the right-hand turn, and we're going to postpone our draw for one more lap. Let's do it on lap number 2 rather than lap number 1. Quite simply because that will take us a third of the way through the right distance. Feels better. That's what we're going to do. So, can we go under the bridge? This is going to be coming in for the end of lap number 1. You can see the banner is coming up, and we will be hitting that banner. We will have 6 laps in total, 5 laps to go when we hit the line this time round. So 5 laps to go when we hit the line now. So heading out on to lap number 2. So here we go, taking the climb out that start area again. So to head up, just dropping in with Koos. Looks like we've got a bit of a strung out group at the moment. Keep it blown already. Not surprising. It looks to be rather rapid through there. This is not the easiest of routes to keep the group together on. Fortunately though, by the time we get to April, the numbers do drop down from the absolute peak. And that makes things a little bit easier to control, but it's no excuse to go incredibly quick and drop people. Remember, it's about trying to keep everybody together as we go through until we reach the point when Russ gives the 3Gs and 3Os simultaneously, and that's the point at which you can do whatever you want. you can ride and sprint your way first, all the way to the finish, or you can just poodle in and admire the views in Zwift. Whatever you want to do. So it's good to see Meg Hawkins and some of the gang meeting up out on the roads at the weekend. And that was out and about in the Doncaster neck of the woods. And of course, we saw Tracy and Vin out there. Actually had the pleasure of being up twice last week with them on the way through. Brilliant to see the riders out in the flesh rather than just an avatar. And don't forget, of course, you'll be able to do exactly the same. The first of the in real life meetups for the riders on the DCG gang is gonna be happening. It's gonna happen this weekend. If in doubt, look on the Facebook page. It is on the Facebook group for the Donny Chaingang virtual event, and on there you will find meeting details. It's got lots of support, lots of banter, lots of chat. Don't forget, of course, there's loads of support for people if you've got tech issues, if you need some help. So if in doubt, dive on there. First ride out going to be cracking off pretty soon. So make sure you jump on to the Facebook page. Have a look at where it's going at the weekend. We've got lots of rides lined up. We say we, it is actually Keith, Finn and Tracy who've done all of the hard work. A massive, massive thank you to them for stitching them together. And don't forget, of course, if you want to have a meet up, you want to meet up with the guys, put it up on the Facebook page, chat, sort it out. I know lots of people meeting up down south and bumping into people you've been riding on the gang. It's going to be at the Thamar Cafe. Matt Woodward, any down south, you want to organise them, just shout me and get in touch with the gang. But we do encourage you, if in doubt, have a chat with the guys and come and talk to either myself, to Vin, to Tracy or to Keith. They can point you in the direction of what you need to do to put something on of any kind of scale, because of course you're out on the open roads. Now let's take a little bit of a look. Looks like the riders coming back in towards the bridge. We're going to see another flurry of confetti. We are indeed. So plenty of people getting personal best times in and through. Nice. Neil from the Crosscast is on the Zwift Pinarello, and that is in fact going to be Neil from Gritty, one of our key supporters. So Tracy on the gang, no surprises there. Terminator 2.0 on the gang once more. Real who's who of regulars really on the gang when we start to hit this time of the year. Good to see the return though of Steve James and Ruby James. Great to see. So David Hopkinson, yeah, come on, jump on board, mate. Dive down. If in doubt though, guys, if you are going to go, let Vin and Tracy know, just so that they can get the right numbers of seats at the cafe. Let them know a heads up of how many are going, so if you can give them some advance notice, it means you get in and out. You're not at the back of the queue for your toasted tea cake or similar. I'm loving the fact that Kooslis is in, because you can't get on the bus just yet. Don't put money on it. Anything tell you we might have an early 3Gs today? Today could be the day. So there's a good little, all the routes designed to try and give lots of options. You can tell my words are not going to work right. So lots of options of where to head. I think Russ not going to like it to make the ride this weekend. I think he's with a stinking cold and work as well. He's going to have to be looking after himself on the way through. Neil's going to bail a bit early today. Let's have a look. The riders heading into Wars, which need to make the end of the next lap, Russ, because they need to do a draw. Neil did a huge block of training last week, so he's not going to be out. Great to catch up with Neil and Caroline from gritty last week. Not just purveyors of the best and the most sustainable clothing in the business and minimising the impact of your kit on the environment, but of course also as well purveyors of amazing gluten-free cake, as we said. So watching the group come through, we're going to head up on to the climb once again. Now we saw this last time round, get steep around that right hand bend, keeping it together is key. Good to see we've got John Garfer on board. John on tucked in here. John was our beacon last Thursday I think it was, on here. Got Jason on here. Here's great cake consumer. Yes, I am. I am a great consumer. And in fact, I eat lots of cake. That's why I don't go uphill as fast as I used to. Didn't eat cake, I've been in trouble. Easter eggs too, actually, as well. Always dangerous. Might have eaten my body weight in Easter eggs over the last 3 days. Or something similar. Certainly feels like it at the moment. So we've got Jason Stevens just tucked on the back of the group. Jason's going to be our beacon on Thursday. Thursday got a slightly different route. This one with lots of climbing, going to be nearly 800 metres of climbing on Thursday and today. And the route's very, very similar in terms of climbing. Not quite as much on Thursday. Honest Gov, it's silly as hell. Really, it's really tough. I'm not kidding. It's a tough one. In fact, Russ, I think this season has come up with some really, really, really good routes and has also put some really mean ones in there as well. Okay, coming up to the top of the climb, we're going to go diving down. As we start to dive down, we're going to start to get prepped and ready. We're going to find our yellow beacon. First of all, that is going to be Russ. Remember, guys, keep with that yellow beacon on this descent. Really key. Stay in with the gang, just see them going up and through. So we're going to be making our way down and in. We're going to dive on the overhead shot of Russ as he comes down the hillside. We are also going to start pulling up our OTE scenes because we are of course going to start to head in towards our giveaway for the DCG gang members. Remember, of course, the DCG gang members, the people who donate regularly, they are the people who quite literally keep the show on the road. We have got costs that occur all year round, one way or another, whether or not we're running the whether we are running the gang or not, even right the way through the summer. And there's a lot of technical issues dedicated just for the Chaingang. Russ, of course, with equally the same, and of course, to help cover off those costs, really, really helpful if you can donate. So if you can, please do. If you can't, don't worry, don't stress. It's not mandatory, I totally understand. But if you do, we'd like to say thank you, and our thank you this month is all coming from OT in terms of giveaways, but we do have discounts. This is a 30% discount code for OTE at the moment, and as you can see from the gang, we are going to press the stop button when Russ goes underneath the gantry point. So the numbers correspond to one number per member. We're going to hit the button. That button will correspond to one of the members who hasn't won OTE this month, because it is old school prizes. I'm old school. It's one rider, one prize. Round the bend we go. Watching for the moment that Russ goes underneath the gantry. Going to try and hit it as fast as I can. Let's see how the main options are. There we go. It's going to be number 24, and that means Bobby Mason. Mason, Bobby. So Neil Moore, number 23. Gareth Mason, number 25. It's going to be Bobby Mason, number 24. So congratulations to Bobby Mason. Bobby, you are our winner of the next of our giveaways from OTE. So that's going to be the triple pack of Hydro tabs. It's also going to be the bottle as well. That will be coming out, and there'll be an email heading your way, winging its way to you tonight, telling you exactly how to claim your prize. So congratulations to Bobby Mason. You are our next rider to win, and the next member of the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, to grab the prize from OT. And a massive thank you to Annie and all of the gang. Really do appreciate the support from them and looking after our members. And without all of the team, the guys at 1080, Continental, Velaskin, Halo, Nonnas, Gritty and OTE, we wouldn't be able to say thank you like we do to the members. We've given away so much kit from Gritty, some amazing vouchers from them that people have been using, and from Halo have had a year's supply of chamois cream for one winner. From Veloskin, we've had best part of over £1,000 worth of prizes going out as part of Continentals month. 1080 with those three absolutely custom, any shades, any custom type of Oakley, 3 pairs going out courtesy of 1080. And of course OTE kicked off the season, and they were doing the giveaways. And that was at the start of September. They opened it, and they're going to finish off the season. Don't forget, of course, we are going to be taking a break from the Donny Chaingang, the WoW DCG and the DCG from the end of April to the beginning of September. Oh, good to see Bobby Mason's on the gang. Excellent stuff. Always good when the winners are on the gang. We will come and find you, Bobby, in that gang somewhere. It will happen, and we'll give you a highlight on the way through. So we are going to take a gap. We are going to take a break on the way through to keep up with all of the other events, give you a bit of a breather as well. Don't forget, of course, that Zwift will be rolling all the way through. We won't be giving up on the sports broadcasting. We've got a lot going on over the course of the summer, and we're going to be broadcasting Emma and myself every Sunday. And that is going to be right the way through the year. Just going to be working on that. We've actually got a 7-stage, 8-day tour coming up, esports tour, with $1 million in prize fund. That's to be going out. Looking forward to putting words to the action on that one. Also going to be putting words to the action on lots of the UCI events. Heading up to Glasgow, to be down at the Crits, the National Crits Series as well. Looking forward to that. And it's going to be really fun. Hopefully seeing everybody. Don't forget, of course, give us a wave, give us a shout. We will try and wave back, shout back, give you a shout out. Doesn't always happen. It kind of gets a bit busy at times. On the mic, particularly on the live events. We'd love to see loads of you out and riding on some of the other events we do. It's always great when we see riders that we know. It was Lincoln the other year, not going to be at Lincoln this year, but Lincoln the previous year, when we saw riders coming up, Chaingang members coming through on the Sportive, and as Russ was just mentioning, don't forget, of course, you can ride with Russ and with Dean on the Lincoln Sportive this year. So Russ is going to be out on that as well. But of course, lots of other events, not just the sporties that are going to be there. We're going to be out covering a lot of everything from the XCE, hopefully right the way through to the mountain bike, BMX. Going to be doing esports every weekend as well, and silly race up, loads and loads of events coming your way from Full Speed Events and from the commentary stream. One of the reasons why we are having to do this GODO as we speak. At the moment it's all sawdust and dirt down there, so hence the reason why no computers, no kit down there, and we're up in the offices at the moment, so slightly more echoey. You're going to hear the sound bouncing around the vaulted ceiling here. The ancient pub roofs down here, not as conducive as the ones in the cellar to having great sound quality, unfortunately. So it's like Joe Jarvis back on the ride. Joe, I hope you've recovered from your monster ride. Looks like make it in here, John Garfield, Mr. Priest from Hawkins. Dan Ladle back in. Good to see Dan back in here. See Ryan Crawley on the way through. Mr. Pattinson on there. Sean Ferron here. Looks like John Gale also tucked in the group. Sam Emsley. I love the fact that Rusty's saying he's looking forward to seeing this unfold on the footage. That implies he's not going to be there, which is always an interesting statement. So the riders just currently making their way round away from the edge of the Italian villas, making their way up towards the section that runs us over the bridge and on to the climb. So the question is going to be, who's your money on? Interesting to see the conversation of the about the hillside coming up and the climb coming up. Who's going to be able to deal with the climb in front of our riders? Looks like Coos looks in the bus, just forming. Mr. Robertson and Mr. Hutchison nicely ticking on. And looks like one or two riders just pulling to the side of the road. A number of people with some big blocks as we come in. As Neil was saying, big training block on the run in towards the National Mountain Bike Series. Don't forget, of course, Gritty are down there, and Gritty not just supporting the Donny Chaingang, they're actually sponsors now of the XCC at the National Mountain Bike Series as well. And great to see the people in the sport actually supporting sport. Brilliant to see them looking after that discipline very close to my heart, the XCC and the XCE, the shorter mountain bike events. Always lots of cracking action in there. And big thank you to the team at Gritty too for their support, not just the Chaingang but of the other events as well. Don't forget, of course, you can see them out and about all over the place. You can jump onto the Gritty website as well. Message them on the Facebook pages, you name it, as you can, with all of our sponsors. Josh Mayland, regular on the gang, the OTE team regularly coming back in as well. Standing Drabble for the win. Well, could be. Pete Drabble, very fast at the moment. He's on some proper form. None of the City Lightweight kids. Safe bet, says Mr. Mason. Not guaranteed though. It's not always busy. Yeah, Neil, just saying, come and say hi if you're at Margam XC at the weekend. Mountain Bike National Series. Let's have a look. The group just about together. Russ just been distanced a little bit. I think Russ just been a little careful here of how far into the red zone he's pushing. So Neil's on his way out, dropping out early. Thanks, Neil. Good to see Neil on. Neil supporting the gang and the Gritty team, supporting the gang week in, week out, as well as, of course, looking after the members of the DCG gang, the Chaingang Supporters Club. A big thank you to Everyone at Gritty, Velaskin, Continental, 1080 Nonnas, and Halo. Thank you very much, team. Without all of the guys, we wouldn't be able to say thank you to the riders. Now, coming up over the top, going to be really important here. The gang stay together. Remember, this doesn't actually need to call this. It could just hold fire. It won't be the first time we've got to finish without it being called. It happens occasionally. We do occasionally bin the complete coverage as well. Very rare, and that's happened once, if not twice. So it looks like the gang just reforming a little bit on the way down here. Looks sort of like one or two people just starting to be distance heading back towards the bus, being driven by Michael Hutchinson, by Kooslugs, come through. Russ just easing off the back, giving himself enough room to run down. He's put the arrow in, and thank you very much to Mr. Ambler as well as Russ. Diving off the back before putting in an anvil. Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. That is exactly how it works. Dive off the back, put the power in where they're not going to rip the group apart, and you're not going to end up diving off the floor. Brilliant stuff. Neatly done. So I want to put two people on the chase here. Looks like Matt Woodward is going to have to do some serious pushing, as is Mr. Dickinson. So they want to get back in. Taylor Kerrigan, Kooslugs and Co. out in the back of the gang. Let's take a look. Mr. Hopkinson, if you want to get rid of the anvil, if you pull up on your screen, on your app, you can bin your power up. If you don't want an anvil, you can bin it without using it. You don't have to use them. You can bin them rather than use them. So if, for example, you've got a steamroller and you know it's a complete flat tarmac route, you can bin it off. You don't actually even need to use it. So underneath the line we go. 21.5k covered in total. Half ride distance. Yeah, I'm still just going to do that. It's yeah, it's great on the downhill when you're in the middle of the race. It's rubbish to hold a group together having it. But it depends if you use them. Some people don't use power-ups. I have to say, when we're riding, and we do ride on multiple platforms on Zwift, here we use PC, Windows operating system, we use an iOS system. We don't actually use an Android system, it's the only one we don't use. If we are on the Apple TV, 9 out of 10 times we won't use power-ups because they're a pain in the posterior to use with the Apple app. Unless you use it on your companion app. If you're on PC, much simpler. Smash the space bar. Oddly enough, power seems to power up. Brilliant, much easier. Well, on the way up the climb, 37 minutes, 39, 40, 50 seconds in. So approaching danger zone for those people who are on the time. Mr. Woodward looks like he's going to be dealing with matters other than the bike. Owen Davis must admit I'm nursing a feather. I think I would be too if I had one. Yeah, I'd be holding on for that for the climb. Looks like the coffee machine's firing up outside the office, even better. Just it's a good news as the runners coming through. It's the best thing about being up here in the offices is that the coffee machine is like 2 steps away and we get some warning, whereas down in the soundproof cellars in the studios we don't get that. You can hear it chugging away, it's brilliant. I'm hoping it's heading my direction, you never know. Full speed events, powered by OT and coffee, and Easter eggs and cake. That's just me. So a few people just distanced off the back of the group. Russ shouting out, is everybody's ready? Is he giving some warning today? He must be feeling nice. Oh, right. This will be interesting. Because if he goes now, it's going to be very, 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 very interesting. Getting twitchy. Oh, here we go. Look at this. We have service with a smile. Big smile coming from Fred. Got a couple of things across there. There you go. If only that service could happen downstairs. Oh, it does happen in the studio as well. We're about to get slapped then, so I better be careful. So it looks like Russ just took on to the back of the group. Interesting to see what's going to happen here as we come around this around the long right-hand turn drop down here. So into the drop. Hopefully everybody's caffeinated enough for the kick that's likely to come. Just following Russ at the moment as we go into this drop. I'm going to take the tight left-hand turn, slight rise, then kick through the bridge. This is a sprint point, so always a quick moment through here. Then into the Italian Villas. So getting follow Russ at Bike Flex, at Downing Cycling, at Fonzie Downing, and of course at Russ Downing. You can get a hold of Russ at Cycle Espresso. Russ, of course, also out on the bike and out on the lanes, out training, as well as, of course, on the Pinarello rides. If you haven't seen the pictures of Russ's current whip, make sure you go have a look on social media. It's an absolutely gorgeous machine. I think it's of the caliber that if Pimp My Ride came along, they just hold their hands up and go, nope, can't do anything with that. That is just there already. It's made it. We don't need to touch it. It is so good. So starting to lose one or two riders off the back of the group. The pace picking up. We take the left-hand turn now. We're going to be coming into the rise. You can just see coming under the archway and round past underneath the waterfalls. So on the exit to the villas, it's a 4% drag past there. It's easy as you go around the left-hand turn. It levels out a little bit, then a dip and another riser. And then we've got a little bit more of a serious descending section. Not very long, but enough to pick up the speed before another kicker in towards the bridge, across towards the climb, and then we're going to be on to the big climb once again. Don't forget, of course, finishing line is going to come in just over 42 kilometres, 6 laps in total. Already well on our way into what is our 4th lap at the moment, and the main gang together at the bus already forming with Michael Hutchinson. That's Kuslitz driving the bus today. It's going to be Jason Stevens tomorrow doing the same thing. Don't forget, of course, you can catch up with all of the action if you're watching live on this and everything else. If you click the subscribe button. Okay, so here we go. The riders around this left-hand turn. Then we get this drop down, this slight run towards the bridge. Just pick up a bit of speed before it climbs and kicks back up again. See that pace at the moment going to 49 now, 50 kilometers an hour, 51 kph. Then that right-hand bend, it kicks a little bit. It's going to take some of the speed off. It's 4% on this drag as well. Same as when coming underneath the waterfall over the bridge, where it levels out, and then we're going to be on to the climb once again. If, like me, you always like to have a little private prediction. I know where I predicted where Russ is going to go. Not going to share it with all of you lot. But it's probably the same place most of you are thinking he's likely to kick it. Let's see if Russ does, or whether it is somewhere different. You see Jimmy on here, Jimmy back on the gang once again. I'm sure he's not ready to mountain bike. If you change that in the pens, it won't show on our screens. That Jimmy won't be on the mountain bike, I am sure. Mr. Mason saying he's a cruel man, that Russ. Yeah, depends where he picks the spot. Will he pick it on the way up, the way down, the way through the line? Who knows? Already 44 minutes in. So the helicopter up overhead at the moment. We're just riding in with Jimmy Allen, the man who jumps in when Russ is otherwise engaged and unable to be our yellow beacon. And Jimmy just nicely tucked in to the screw. We should have plenty of practice of running hills out in Flanders. So into the steep section of the climb, you can see the gradient increasing, ticking its way up into the red already. And the go has gone easy, has picked that moment. If I was a betting man, I'd have just won a lot of money, because the go went on the steepest section round the bend. Well, he's gone for an absolute classic there. Who's going to be able to stay in? I think we're going to see Lindley leading this out as they go up over the top. Can they pull a group clear very early on? The gap's going to open quickly on this descent. If they can really hammer this home, it's going to fracture. It's still going to have plenty of time left for it to reform as well. So here we go, the riders underway, diving down the side here. We're just riding in with Tom Lindley as we come in to this fast descent. This is where you're going to see those ambush having a really big effect. So good to see Chris Ball in action. Chris out with the gang going well. And Chris, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, let's see who's going to go. Drabble going to be closed down here. He has got Jimmy Allen, who's made the catch here. So has Mason. So has Williams. Really interesting move there in that pursuit. They were able to close the gap down as they come in. It's going to be one lap to go. This is an elite group here. And this is a group I'm not sure I want to be trying to tow around here, because this is going to take some closing down to. You can see the anvil really taking its effect. If you get it, you've got to use it, and you've got to choose your moment. It has decimated the group behind. Crawley, Evans, Booth, Wasdale, Downing, Steve James, looks like Nathan from Velobans, Tom Lindley, Keith Richardson, all at the mercies of that big lump of metal that weighs the riders down, that takes them down the hills at speed. It's allowed him to get back to Drabble, but can they keep him in check? Not sure I'll be giving him a turn, I have to say, on the way through here, but maybe being second, third or fourth in the gang, because you stayed away, is better than getting swallowed up by a group behind. Interesting to see this space. Williams just telling the fellow breakaways the gap is growing. It's yo-yoing up and down at the moment, and that is on the way through. Mr. Mason just wanting the effort. You're going to get that on the hill, mate. Don't worry about it. Now, this is the chase. This is going to be as important as what the riders in front are doing. Is what's happening in this group at the moment. There seems to be quite a bit of looking at each other. And not enough there. It looks like the gang are just, as Russ says, letting them go. The gap really is. It's winding out very fast indeed at the moment. 17 seconds the gap at the moment. Back from this group to the Yellow Beacon group. You can see the distance is increasing as well. So Dale Williams leading this pack of 4 riders. Dale Williams, Jimmy Allen, Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist, along with Pete Drabble, who took a storming win. A rider we know can go clear, but will he be able to do that again on this climb? He'll have used a lot of energy on that climb that time round. He was pulled back because of the power-ups gamification in Zwift, playing into the hands of the chasers rather than the solo leader, but only certain chasers able to utilize the power up because they were the ones who had it, and definitely taking its toll. 16 seconds down the gap back from these 4 riders to the chasers behind. As long as they don't do anything crazy, that should be enough. So the riders over the top here into the descent towards the sprint, and that gap continuing to open. 16 seconds, 17 seconds now, and Lindley on the front of the chasing group, just starting to break clear of that group, but Drabble has come down. He's kicking up out of this a little bit into the sprint. Is this just so that you have the fastest sprint time as well? Let's see the fastest time so far from James is a 12:07. Let's have a little look. What time is he going to have put in? Looks like he's got his fastest time. Let's take a look at the sprint time. Right, 12:22. Not the fastest time, but he has opened the gap at the moment. So Williams now having to chase again. Mason having to chase. I tell you something, this is going to put the pressure on them, but that descent has opened the gap up. 21 seconds separating the front of group 2 from the back of group number 1. I think it's all over. It well and truly is now, because there's no way they're going to pull that gap back given the quality of riders in front. For me, the only question is going to be, is Drabble, after putting in a big sprint and a big kick, able to stay clear of the riders behind when we get to the climb? Can he break clearing up that gap, or will he find that Williams, Mason, Allen have all been cagey, have been playing their cards close to the chest, using their power-ups wisely? We're now coming in towards the big bridge, and this group all together at the moment. So heading in towards the finish here, just a quick, we're having one or two tech issues if you're not catching us, apologies. So next up, Andy Hawes, the next rider in to the finish. He's going to come in through the line. It's going to be Andy ahead of Gary Pattison, then it's going to be Jim Flynn. Just a quick reminder, if you haven't caught up already, make sure, guys, you give us a follow at Matt Thinks of Pain, at Russ Downey, at Biking Emma, at Full Speed Events. We've got so much coming up, lots of great coverage. Don't forget, of course, that we have 3 weeks of Chaingangs left. That's going to be it. When that's done, we are going to be on that break, and you'll have to find lots of different events. Russ out and about, guys out and about. Jim Flynn on his way in to the finish, and he's going to be our next finisher on his way into the line. So here we go, Jim making his way around the right-hand turn. He's got this long sweeping left into the line. Another great ride by Jim here today. Don't forget, we've got essentially 5 more. Is it 5 more Chaingangs to go? I'm trying to work it out in my head. It always takes a little bit of brain power. It's not necessarily working. It is indeed. So we have this Thursday coming up. We have then the Tuesday, Thursday, and Tuesday, Thursday. So that's 5. There you go. Counting not my strong point by the time we get to the end of the Chaingangs. Jim Flynn goes underneath the gang. He at least knows he's done all the laps he needs to, and now just on that one down, as you can see by his numbers. Next up is going to be Koo Slugs and Ken Kerrigan, the bus in operation. So let's run through some of our some of our little bits of housekeeping. We're going to see if we can make sure that all the tech is working. A little bit of a shift up in to the studios for us today, so apologies if you've been caught up in any of the tech issues. It is quite literally a bit of a mess downstairs. It's like sawdust everywhere. We're building the new studio booths down there, and hopefully we'll be back in there next week. Don't forget, of course, at the moment, if you're a member of the DCG gang, you can still join. Just jump onto the registration pages you'll see on there, and an option to join the gang. If you do join, there is 30% off Gritty. There's 30% off OT, 20% on Gritty, 20% on Velaskin, 10% on Halo, extra discount on 1080, and you can get it now and stock up for the rest of the summer. So if you want a new pair of shades for the summer, if you want to fuel up with the salted caramel bars, if you want to get a new riding top set of shorts, get ready for the winter. You never know. Cross is always coming. You can always get yourself one of the tyre guys. Dive on. Support the people who look after the members of DCG gang up there. And don't forget, of course, big discounts for the members of the DCG gang. They do quite literally keep the show on the road here at Full Speed Events, to keep Russ rolling out there as well. And, of course, we are aiming on being back in September. Touch wood. If everything goes to plan. So lots of great action coming up. Don't forget, of course, we are going to be bringing you lots more action. We're hoping to actually manage to meet up with at least some of you on at least one of the rides, if we can get it together. But, of course, always busy on weekends. Lots of broadcasts coming out from the Full Speed Events studios. And hopefully we'll be in at least one, if not two of those by the weekend, if we get everything all sorted down in the original beer cellar studio, the old beer cellar studio here in the territory of the Donny Chaingang. Now, over the top of the climb we go. You can just see Koo Slugs going over the top, just chasing Ken Kerrigan down onto the descent. Let's jump in with the riders as we go down the descent for the last time here. So through we go, round that left-hand bend. We're heading down over the bridge and up with the spiral. Great to see the job done by Koo Slugs. We said at the start of the show that Michael Hutchinson, it doesn't get much more experienced when it comes to red beacons than Michael, and Koo Slugs doing an amazing job as always. Got to say a massive, massive thank you to everybody over the season on the DCG and the WOW DCG. If you've been a beacon, whether it's a yellow or red beacon, thank you so much. The guys who have helped the other riders, those people who've gone back and acted as sweepers, those people who've jumped in when there's been tech, where there's been issues on Swift, anyone who's helped anyone out, That's the whole point of the Chaingang, and great to see that our riders are continuing in that tradition. The Chaingang set up to help everybody, and that's exactly what's going on now. Here we go, last two riders on today's ride, but by no means last. Hitting this 66th and 67th out of our 84 starters here today. So Ken Kerrigan and Michael Hutchison. Ken in the classic Z kit, the Z Peugeot kit, but with the ride on down the side for Justin. Of course, Stelton Man in the red as our red beacon. That's Michael Hutchison. So Kerrigan and Hutchison are going to be the riders going in. Over the line they go. So our riders through are now just that warm down to do. And that means that we are going to say goodbye for today for Tuesday. We are going to be back on Thursday. Make sure you join myself, Matt Payne, with Russ, of course, as our yellow beacon. I think it's Jason Stevens, if I remember correctly, as our red beacon. We're going to be back in Yorkshire, so you know it's going to be a tough one. It ain't easy. It's the Donny Chaingang. We'll see you again on Thursday. Bye-bye.